When the interplay of concepts flashes in the distance and the layers of logic float and twist in the air, the premise is quietly unraveled, and we are invited into a new flora and fauna. What if the world is not one? The cornerstones of the theorem set up here, the imprint of the premise engraved there, are all merely local solutions. An endless horizon is folded into a single space, and as soon as the fold is untied, another logic flows in through the cracks of the concept. The reason this ground on which we now stand was determined to be lower was simply because there were so many people who believed so. The words we exchange today are considered correct because the echoes of the past have become familiar to so many by chance. So what if we walk outside of statistical domination without following the violence of numbers? What if we descend to a point where there are no assumptions? We find that there is no one truth, but only a field of scattered interpretations. And we are but a breath of a width vibrating within that field. A concept is an invisible path laid under our feet. Those who walk that path, echoing their own footsteps, build bridges between the known and the unknown. To be bound by a single premise is merely a temporary base from which to set the coordinates of one's thinking, as one wanders through the same landscape without being able to measure even one's own steps. Some people believe in what is unchanging, while others advocate impermanence is the truth. A premise is a temporary tower, and if the cornerstone is moved, the landscape changes. To stand on a different premise transforms the familiar world into an unfamiliar landscape. To wander through a garden of hypotheticals and not be entangled in a single stereotype. It is an act of abandoning an existing path and trying a new one. The answer is not always at the end of the path. Different premises also invite floundering. It is not a hesitation but an open attitude of inquiry. Those who believe in gravity fear falling, while those who take floating for granted find it strange to set foot on the ground. There is no indicator of rightness here, only a mixture of different assumptions depending on where one stands. Thought is movement, and movement involves a change of trajectory. When confronted with different premises, one either rejects them or drifts with them. To flounder is nothing more than to play with the fluidity of a single premise without being bound to it. The past influences the future, and the future sways back to the past. It becomes a place of drifting, where even the relationship between cause and effect is undetermined. We must question the horizon we are walking on, jump over the boundaries of concepts, and let our minds play with different premises. Only then does thinking become open. On the invisible axis of coordinates, those who walk measure their own footsteps. One lives in a cage of assumptions. There, even the direction of gravity is transformed according to doctrine. What is above and what is below? Whose balance is it? The orbit is a mathematical figure as the will of the star. The beginning may be the origin, but it is only a convenience of retrogression. Here is the trajectory of the book. Does it follow a linear destiny, or does it continue to mutate itself, pregnant with infinite refractions? The answer is left to the choice of perspective. If we abandon the axis of coordinates and simply allow ourselves to drift, the path can no longer be a path. But even there, freedom resides. It is inevitable that the words of those who stand on different foundations will differ, just as different lights cast different shadows. But if it is in these differences that the beauty of fluence lies, then the horizon that appears beyond does not reject the horizon. Rather, it invites us to a path we have not yet seen. Stepping into a hypothetical garden, the ground is soft, and with each step, a different logical flower blooms. Some flowers refer to themselves like a circle, while others reject the end of the straight line. Here, if whispers like the wind and still makes the roots crawl deeper. With each step, the sky changes. Time does not necessarily draw a straight line. At times it repeats a continuum, at other times a bifurcation. The chains of cause and effect are broken. The past becomes a shadow of the future, and the future reflects a past yet to be seen. The map of reason is redrawn before it is drawn, and the foundation of assumption slips like sand. When one truth takes shape, it is forced to transform as soon as it accepts another premise. Whenever different worldviews intersect, the meaning that should have been certain becomes an outline of existence that gradually melts away, and new meanings flow in. Whenever the foundations of logic shift, the flow of thought also takes on a different color. There is no absolute path here,